Our area's most beautiful properties deserve the finest realtors. Meeks Realty Group. We focus on buying and selling residential and commercial properties throughout the tri-state area. Contact Meeks Realty Group online at meeks.us or call 304-440-1101.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Monday morning to you from the Par-Mar Store studio. Welcome to the show. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar and Game Changer present the annual Par-Mar Shootout on the campus of West Virginia State University, February the 5th through the 8th. 4 big days, 8 exciting boys and girls basketball games each day. First games tip off at 9:30 in the morning. For a complete list of games, visit Par-Mar stores on Facebook or X. And if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. And we're brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill GM Superstore. If you're looking for a powerful, luxurious, and innovative truck, come check out the 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LTZ in High Country today. Find new roads to Thornhill GM Superstore. Click or come by thornhillgmsuperstore.com or on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Coming up a little bit later on the show, Delegate Pritt will be stopping by. Now, he promises a big announcement for us. He is, of course, running for Secretary of State. I don't know what the announcement is. You'll find out when I do. Also coming up a little bit later on, we have the Dr. Jessi Troyan from the Cardinal Institute as well. So I hope everybody survived the snow and all the junk. It's out of here, they say. But if you're traveling this morning, main roads obviously are in very good shape. But the back roads, not so much this morning. That's going to be melting away, though. I'm not a meteorologist, nor do I play one on television. But just saying that things are starting to look up a little bit. I want to welcome to the show right now Chris Miller, who is a candidate for governor in the state of West Virginia. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm all out of bubblegum, Dave.
Yes, indeed you are. Anytime that plays, I always think of you for some reason. I don't know why. It just seems like something that you would do as an intro as opposed to me.
I dig it. It gets me fired up every single time I get to listen to your show.
Well, I appreciate you listening. So how's the campaign been so far?
It's been an absolute blast traveling all around the state and getting to meet everybody. You know, the really fun thing about West Virginia is the absolute best thing about our state of the people. And it's been so great for me to go around the state and meet as many people as I possibly can. And the other funny thing is, and you're going to laugh at this, but West Virginia, we might be more tribal than Afghanistan. We've got like 55 counties all separated by mountains and 55 different cultures and different types of people. Like it's fantastic to actually watch and see. It really is.
When I use the term, and I've been taken to task by some of my listeners, I say West Virginia is a very diverse state. Yeah. And they text in, they say, what are you talking about? It's a diverse. Could you get any more different than Martinsburg and Welch?
Oh my gosh,
example?
exactly right. Or Williamson and Wheeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Charleston and Charlestown. Like everywhere's different, and the people though are still the same. Like we're still just a good old fashioned, God-fearing, family-loving group of people, and that's one of the best things about the state is that it doesn't matter if you got a lot or little. People will bring you in their home and feed you in West Virginia. And, heck, if your Tesla breaks down in the coal fields, miners will come out of a mountain and push your Tesla to a coal-powered generator to make sure you got enough power to get on down the road.
Indeed.
No matter how bad those cars really are. I mean, that's the best thing about our state is the people.
I saw you had some TV ads running. I saw those last week. And I think that's probably an advantage you're going to have over the other Republicans in the state because you are no stranger to the camera. The others all have experience in front of the camera as well, but not quite as much as you do, Chris.
Well, people can see who you are and see how you sound and understand what you're really going to be like through television, and that's one of the neat things about that medium. It's kind of like radio. We're here talking. It leaves a lot to the imagination. People are, they have to pay attention and listen. Television, you get a little bit of imagery and sound, so it's one of those mediums we've been using for a really, really long period of time, and I'm totally comfortable with it. And it's authentic, right? So, we're going to have a great time with it.
So today's a big day for you. You start off here, and then you're headed down the street. Is that right?
We are headed to the Capitol to go file our official papers to run for governor of the state of West Virginia. And here with me is my wife, Cassie, by the way. She's kind of sitting here in the sidelines. But aside from marrying my wife, it would be the honor of my lifetime to be selected as the next governor of the great state of West by God, Virginia.
And if you have, I always ask the other candidates this, if you are elected governor of West Virginia, will you reside at the Capitol?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's part of the state's constitution, and it's a non-starter.
Already measuring the drapes and everything, right?
Oh, we will not be wasting any money at
Why
all.
do I think that there might be a boxing ring inside inside there for the first time?
We're not going to do anything fancy inside of that place. But hey, if I got to pay to use my own money to bring in a boxing ring to make sure I stay in shape, I don't see a problem with that.
They used to say when Joe Manchin was the governor that if they had an issue, that Manchin would order some pizzas from Geno's, get a case of beer, and just have everybody come over. I could see you reaching out to the other side, but instead of that, I could see you probably ordering protein drinks. But I could also
all of the above, right? Whatever makes you happy.
But I could see you putting a boxing ring in there, saying we're going to work this out.
There's lots of ways to persuade people, and so we got to figure out what the most effective ways are. But really, at the end of the day, it's about bringing people together and solving problems, and that's what a leader does. And that's one of the things that I'm most excited about is actually being able to work with everybody, provide 12 hours of work every single day with a bunch of energy to make sure that everything gets done that needs to get done for the people, because that's what we all forget about is that elections and governing at the end of the day is not about the political class. It's about the voters and it's about the people, and we have an obligation to make sure and provide a better product for the taxpayers, and that's why I'm running. We got problems to solve, and there's solutions.
Chris, as you're traveling the state talking to prospective voters, what are you listening for? I say that because I'm a big believer that sometimes when people are campaigning for office, of course, it's important for you to tell your story, but it's just as important to listen. So what are you hearing as you travel all these places?
The most important things to people are people in West Virginia are a little bit worried about the crazy woke stuff that's happening all around the country, and they want to make sure that that does not infiltrate here. They're also worried about the cost of a gallon of gas and the cost of a gallon of milk. And they're also one of the most important things in the hearts and the minds of the people of West Virginia is to make sure that we have an economy that provides jobs, to make sure that our greatest export is not our kids. Because right now our greatest export is not our coal and it's not our natural gas. Our greatest export are our kids. And the way to fix that is to make sure that we have an economy that thrives, that provides jobs and provides employment and provides opportunity. And all you have to do is really understand how economics and how job creation works, change some of the rules to the playing field, make ourselves more favorable to do business, and then work, roll up your sleeves and work. And when we start doing that stuff, all these things are going to start happening. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing. It's grandparents, it's parents, it's everybody that have watched their kids leave our state. And we've been declining in population for way too long. And we have to fix that. And we have to fix that right now, because everything that we do in the future, every problem that we face gets solved by just growing our state's population, by growing our economy. And it all trickles into what happens with the tax base. Tax base grows, government can provide better services. The tax base grows through economic growth and development. We've got way more opportunity for our people when it comes to jobs and employment. Then you start thinking about how that affects businesses. Workers' comp modifiers go down. Cost of health care goes down. The lives of people get improved, and it really starts and ends with managing and running an economy and doing what I've done my entire life. I'm an outsider. I've never been involved in politics before. I've made my entire career building a bunch of businesses, and we employ 750 people. We're in 5 different states, but we're also heavily invested in West Virginia, and I'm tired of sitting back and watching politicians say all kinds of stuff and do nothing at the end of the day. And we have to act right now. West Virginia has this incredibly rare window of opportunity where we could do something special. You look at the history of our state, we've been extracted. They've taken our coal, they've taken our natural gas. We have a lot to show for it. When you add all that up with all the water and all the lumber in our state, there's no reason why West Virginia can't be one of the richest states per capita in the country. We just have to manage it more like a business. We have to manage government more like a business. We got to negotiate the right way, because I've seen bad deal after bad deal happen because we don't have the best negotiators on the front line making sure the deals are getting done properly. And so it's just rolling up your sleeves and getting to work and providing an element of professionalism, running state government more like a business, and being a hard charger and getting stuff done, because we've seen what politicians do. And we've also seen what happens when business guys get involved. When business guys get involved, stuff gets done better. And that's why I'm here.
Talking to Chris Miller, again, candidate for governor. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by your local insurance experts from Brightway, the Maze Agency of Tays Valley. From your home to your car, even to your pet, Brightway's the Maze Agency will customize the perfect insurance plan for you. At Brightway, they aren't just agents, they're your friends and neighbors. Call John and Sherry Maze today, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymaze.com. Chris, when I was watching the forum conducted by Metro News and moderated by Hoppy in Morgantown back in December, you stated that you'd like to eliminate the state income tax in day one. How do you plan on getting that accomplished?
So if we look at what the job is to grow the economy, and the job is to grow the population to solve the financial challenges that we're facing. We know by fact that 3 of the 4 fastest growing states post-pandemic are Tennessee, Texas, and Florida. And they all have one thing in common, that's a 0 state income tax. And so it's something there's a plan in place to accelerate it out. We need to accelerate it even faster and get it down to 0 as fast as humanly possible. We have to. That's one of the main triggers, because what happens is capital flows like water to the places that it's most welcome. And when the Trump tax cuts hit, they got rid of the SALT deductions. So it used to be if you lived in a high tax state, you were able to deduct all your state level taxes from your federal ticket before you sent your check in. Well, the rates went down, but those deductions went away. And so people with money and people that are looking at doing something different are sitting here looking and going, this is where I'm going to go and take all my money and jobs and resources because they have a 0 state income tax. So we have to. And the offset of that population growth and the increase in what that does for all the different transactions, all the different business growth, and all the different activity literally winds up doing a better job of running the state treasury than having high taxes and low economic participation. So it's just how you think about the problem and what you've got to do to fix it.
What do you make, going back to that forum, what do you make of the fact that Attorney General Patrick Morrisey opted not to take part?
I don't know what to tell you on that one. I mean, he's coming to the next one, so he must have had a scheduling conflict or something. But, most of the time, somebody like me, I'm going to be involved in as many things as I absolutely positively can be, because I think at the end of the day, elections are not about me. They're not about politicians. They're about the voters, and the voters need to hear from you. So you have an obligation. The governor is the CEO of the state, and his job is to lead, provide economic growth and development, and also be a promoter of the state, and also help manage the state's finances. And that's not a job that you can just not show up for. That's not a job that you can just go, I'm not going to interact over there and ignore those people. So that's just not me. I'm going to show up to everything. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to actively be part of it. And guess what? There is no one running that is going to be able to outwork me either. I will work 70 hours a week to make sure the state of West Virginia is the absolute best that it possibly can be. I'll show up.
What have you been watching at the legislature so far this session? I know you're busy running a campaign, traveling all over the state, but is there anything that's kind of caught your eye so far?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with addressing the foster care system. We have a dilapidated foster care system in our state. There's a lot of additional underfunding stuff when it comes to the opiate epidemic. Those things are really important to me. But the other thing that I'm tracking is making sure that we're looking at any and every chance to reduce any sort of tax or regulatory burden on businesses to make sure that we are ready and able to grow the state's economy and bring businesses to the state of West Virginia.
Where can people learn more about your campaign?
So you can go to millerforgov.com. You can check us out, Chris Miller for Governor, on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter and Instagram. And, we've got a YouTube page, too. You can check out all of our information on any of those locations. But start with Miller for Gov, and everything is right there. We are actively out going all over the state. We'd love to hear from you. We have a rapidly growing volunteer base, which has just been absolutely amazing. We've got a place where people can go to sign up to be a volunteer, and it's crazy what's happened as we've ramped up this campaign. We've heard from all these different people from all around the state, and they're really, really excited because they want something different, and they're tired of politicians, and they want to get behind a business guy that actually wants to lead and inspire and make change inside of West Virginia.
Chris Miller, Republican candidate for governor of the state of West Virginia. As always, I appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot.
Dave, man, thanks so much for having me. It's always good to see you.
921. Text to the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. Our service of Fruth Pharmacy. Find the perfect over-the-counter hearing aid at Fruth with NuvoMed hearing aids. Plus, Fruth makes it easier to transfer your prescription services to them. And our phone calls are a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. When shopping at your Biggly Piggly Wiggly, be sure to join their loyalty program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by from farm to table. Biggly Piggly Wiggly, the best kept secret in Charleston. We're going to take a break. We're back after this. Chris Pritt is up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Are you looking for a powerful, luxurious, and innovative truck? Hey, it's Sydney, inviting you to find new roads with Thornhill and check out the new 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LTZ and High Country at Thornhill GM Superstore on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Right now, you can get 1.9% APR for well-qualified buyers or $5,000 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle. It's an opportunity to save big on the new Chevy truck that'll haul the winter blues away. Find new roads to Thornhill GM Superstore. Click or come by at thornhillgmsuperstore.com or on the road to total savings. US 119 Chapmanville. All offers through GM Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Nearly every day, there is a company announcing new jobs in West Virginia. Thanks to the leadership of State Senator Eric Nelson, West Virginia's economy is growing and our future looks bright. Senator Eric Nelson has been part of the team advancing important pro-growth policies, and because Senator Eric Nelson has helped control government spending, West Virginians are receiving the biggest tax cut in our state's history. Vote for more jobs. Vote for lower taxes. Vote for State Senator Eric Nelson. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Nelson.
Unsure you're ready for retirement? That's understandable. After all, you only retire once. Make the smart choice and call 4th Avenue Financial. If it deals with retirement planning, you can be confident they have the experience you need. Retire right with 4th Avenue Financial. Go to 4thavenuefinancial.com or call 304-746-7977 to book your free introductory meeting today.
Securities offered through JW Co Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Co Advisors Incorporated, JW Co Financial, JW Co Advisors, and 4th Avenue Financial are unaffiliated entities.
.923, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Line, brought to you by General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. From kitchens to paints to decks, straight framing wood, roofing metal, and anything else you need, you'll find it at General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. I would be remiss if I did not say welcome back to Chris Lawrence. Chris seems to be like the common name around this place today, but Chris has been off for about 4 weeks. He had hip replacement surgery, made his return over the weekend at the West Virginia Hunting and Fishing Show over at the Coliseum and Convention Centers. So great to have Chris back in the morning news. Of course, the team did a great job in his absence, but he's back now. He's rebuilt, a bionic man, bigger, better, stronger, faster. So welcome back, Mr. Lawrence. Text says, don't forget Chris Miller's mom. Representative Carol Miller took out and was forgiven $3 million in PPP loans to prop up their car lots. The government handing out money at that time without oversight because of Trump caused the inflation today. And there was, quote, fiscal conservative Carol Miller with her hands out. I'm voting that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, says a texter. Coming up a little bit later on, Jessi Troyan, Dr. Jessi Troyan from the Cardinal Institute will be stopping by. I want to welcome to the show now Delegate and candidate for West Virginia Secretary of State, Chris Pritt. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
Just another Chris we're adding to the lineup today, man. You're following Chris Miller, of course.
Yes.
All right, so let's cut straight to it. You texted me, I think it was last week or maybe the week before, and you said you wanted to come on the show to break a big story. So
That's right.
and all of Dave Nation are ears this morning. What you got?
Okay, Dave. Well, thank you so much for having me on. And I'm stating it here first. I'm going to be running for the West Virginia State Senate.
Okay. So does this mean that you're out as the candidate for Secretary of State?
That's right. I gave it some thought, and I had some folks that I talked to, and I had some discussions about how I could be most effective. And I concluded that the way that I can be most effective with my skill set is being in the West Virginia State Senate. So I gave it some thought. I prayed about it. I talked with my family, and we decided collectively that running for the state senate is the way I can have the most impact. I mean, I've got 4 years under my belt as a legislator. I can build upon those skills that I've built up as a member of the West Virginia House of Delegates, and then take those skills and apply those skills in the West Virginia State Senate.
Okay, and this district would be?
It's the 17th district.
Okay.
This district goes from parts of eastern Kanawha County. It goes up to Elkview, parts of Sissonville. It gets South Hills and out towards St. Albans. So it's a good chunk of the county. It's the one senatorial district that is completely within Kanawha County.
Okay.
And so, it goes in those directions. And that encompasses a large part of what I've represented before. I mean, I've represented largely eastern Kanawha County, even southern Kanawha County in the past. So a good portion of what I already represent or have represented in the past prior to redistricting, it's encompassed within this district.
Okay, and so you're going from, and you're currently serving as a House of Delegates member, so you're going to go from that much smaller number, going down from 100 to 30 something in the state Senate. What kind of change will that be for you?
Well, we have to get out and we have to campaign, and it's going to be different. I mean, in the past, I've really relied on grassroots support, folks helping me out. I don't think that's going to change. I think we have a lot of support out there, a lot of people who are going to help me out and help get the message out. You do have to do things a little bit differently running in a state Senate district versus running in a single member delegate district. I mean, you have to do things differently. But I think the fundamentals are the same. You reach out to people, you talk to people, you hear about the issues that are of a concern to them, and then you take those issues and you apply them in the legislature. It's the same general principle. It's just on a bigger scale.
Let's talk about the session so far, and then we'll get back to your decision a little bit later on. Some in the Senate, Chris, including Senate President Blair, Senator now candidate for Attorney General Mike Stewart, and others, have both stated their support of bringing back the death penalty. Blair more so for those dealing fentanyl, while Stewart seems to be primarily focused on those who would bring harm to a first responder, police officer, or whatever. Where are you on that?
On the death penalty,
yeah.
Look, one of the things that I think we have to do when it comes to anything involving government is we have to make sure that we keep government as efficient as possible, okay? And when I've looked at what it would take, for example, to implement the death penalty, I mean, I think you can make a pretty good case that it's an expansion of government. I mean, in terms of the appeals, the cost, everything like that. I think that we're talking about a huge amount of expense that would be put towards that. And if you consider all that and the costs that are involved in the appeals, I don't think it's a good idea to start and implement the death penalty right now. We don't have a history of that in West Virginia. We haven't had it for many, many years. And so I'm not in favor of reinstituting that after all of this time.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Meeks Realty Group. As a locally owned real estate powerhouse, they specialize in residential and commercial properties. No property too big or too small for Meeks. With their team of the finest realtors in the business, Meeks Realty Group is your trusted partner in finding your dream home or that dream commercial investment. Call them today, 304-440-1101, or visit Meeks.us. All right, so as you head out on the campaign trail, let's get back now. Again, the big announcement from Chris Pritt today. He is leaving the race for Secretary of State, and instead he's the current House of Delegates member. He's actually going to be run for state Senate next time around. As you head out on the campaign trail, what do you say to people? Many of you pointed out correctly already know you. Obviously, you've been there for a while. So as you head out and you're knocking on doors, you're going to rallies or meet the candidates forums, whatever, what do you say to those that would separate you from the other people? Because there are already other people that's declared for that seat. What sets you apart?
What sets me apart is on many, many issues, many conservative issues. I've been a leader in the West Virginia legislature. And the feedback that I'm getting is that we are not taking the state in a more conservative direction in a lot of ways. For example, we don't have a ban on critical race theory, okay? That we have been talking about that for years. There's no ban on that. There's we don't have a ban on DEI in higher education, okay? We allow to this day discrimination against public school students who don't want to get vaccinated and their parents. Let's say they want to have a religious exemption for that. We allow for discrimination against those parents and students. So on a number of issues of that sort, we are not applying those values to the legislature in terms of the legislation that is being produced. I hear that time and time again is that on many of those issues, the West Virginia legislature is not producing consistent with the will of the people. I mean, we voted for Donald Trump more than any other state except for one. And we are, on paper and objectively, at least the first or second most conservative state in the entire country. Yet we're not producing in that sense. We're not producing strong conservative legislation. And I keep hearing that over and over again, that we're not producing in that sense. And I think what we need to be doing as a state, we need to be leading on some of those issues. For example, we need to be leading on CRT or making sure that DEI is banned at our higher institutions. I mean, these are Marxist
Why is this so
ideas.
important to you? Let me ask you that. Why are these the critical race theory and the DEI? Why are these things so important to you?
Because it has to do with the idea that we're going to be fundamentally reshaping our country, and a lot of those values are rooted in Marxism, okay, and an expansion of government, and I think those values undermine our institutions. And I think that's what the goal of a lot of those programs are. I mean, if you look at many other states that are far less conservative than West Virginia, they have banned those things. They have, for example, you have a CRT ban in many, many other states, yet we don't here in West Virginia. So I think the way that we're going to get to where we need to be as a state, I mean, I would like to see West Virginia to be a place where individuals come who hold similar values to us. Like, I know somebody who moved up here from Texas who was friends with my sister, and they had a choice between living in Ohio or living in Parkersburg, because he was going to be working there in the Parkersburg area, and they homeschooled based on our homeschool laws versus Ohio. They decided to relocate and live in Ohio. And I think that's a problem, is when we have individuals who I think probably share our values are relocating to other states. I think we need to put an end to that, and I think we can do that by enacting legislation that is consistent with the values of the people of West Virginia.
There's been a lot of talk about the financial aspect of West Virginia, Delegate, and that we have this surplus and whatever. I know the governor State of the State speech a couple of weeks ago. He proposed a pay raise. Some in the Senate have said that the money's just not there for everything that he's proposing. There's going to be more rolled out on that today, I understand. Where are you on that? Do you support pay raise for the governor? Not for the governor. I mean, that the governor's talking about. Do you support pay raises for state employees?
I would, yes. I mean, I think we've got the money there. I think we've got the money there to help provide some incentives for these individuals to come into the workforce. I mean, look, anytime you're talking about pay, it has to do with incentivizing people to come and work for the state. And oftentimes the pay isn't that much compared to the private sector. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But we need to provide an incentive to get folks to work in state government. And I think that's one way we can do that. I mean, look, I think there's money that we have for all sorts of things. I mean, I think that would be probably a drop in the bucket. And I think we can make sure that we help out the folks that are committed to helping move our state forward, but at the same time also recruiting individuals to come into state government. But I think there's room for that, and I think there's room for further tax cuts too. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I think we should prioritize. That's how we're going to help everyone across the board, is with further reductions in the state income tax. I think it helps small businesses. I think it helps larger businesses who might want to expand here. They look at West Virginia and they say, look, this is a state that takes tax cuts seriously. That's going to be a good place to raise a family, and that's going to provide a good quality of life here in the Mountain State.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Chris, but what I'm kind of hearing from you is that you think West Virginia is a conservative state, but could be more conservative as far as our elected officials go.
Absolutely.
Would you extend that to the current holder of that office, Senator Nelson? Do you think he's not conservative enough?
Well, look, I'm not going to necessarily go out and criticize anybody. I mean, I committed from whenever I decided to do this to run a good, positive campaign. Let me just say this. I will say that I will be running on my values, and I think I'm a conservative. And look, that's for the voters to decide whether they agree with my values or someone else's values to the extent that they differ. I mean, there's a lot that he and I agree on, and I think there's some things that we differ on. But nonetheless, I'm going to be talking about my conservative values, and it's really up for the voters to decide whether that's consistent with what they want to see in the West Virginia Senate.
So the announcement is made. Chris Pritt, Delegate Chris Pritt, wants to be Senator Chris Pritt, and you will be running for state senate. You'll be leaving the race for Secretary of State. When you were out on the campaign trail campaigning for Secretary of State, meeting different people, what did you pick up there that you think that maybe in meeting people or different functions, whatever, what did you learn from the whole experience running a statewide race for a couple of months?
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of interest in election integrity, especially after what happened in the 2020 election. Regardless of what anybody thinks, there's a lot of interest in election integrity. And I think there's some things that we can do there too. And I think it has to happen legislatively. That's where it has to happen. I mean, there are things that the Mac Warner could not do because he was bound by what the current law is. I mean, the job of the Secretary of State is to implement and execute the law. The law, whereas things had to get done legislatively. I think there's a lot of interest in that. I think there's a lot of things that we can do legislatively to promote election integrity. Because look, it's about making sure that people are encouraged to go out and vote. And there are people out there that have been discouraged based on what they saw or what was perceived to have happened in the 2020 election. And everything we can do to make sure that people have faith in the system, and I think most people largely do based on West Virginia, the way we handle our elections. But a lot of times what will happen is people in West Virginia that I talked to were reacting to things that were happening in other states like Arizona, and they were gaining a distrust of the system as a whole based on what they saw in other states. And so that's largely what I picked up when I was going around talking with folks across the state.
So where can people learn more about now your campaign for Senate? Do you have to get a whole new website or anything, or do you just have one of those kind of, Chris Pritt for West Virginia kind of things?
It's really, really simple. It's just www.chrispritt.com. Very simple.
There you go. You can put anything in there. You can work at Wendy's or whatever if you want with that website.
That's
All
right.
Chris, I wish you the best of luck. Again, Chris Pritt is going to be now running for state Senate. Best of luck to the campaign. We'll have you on again soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
22 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Whether you're replacing a roof, remodeling the kitchen, or replacing a bathroom, to keep it safe, keep it legal, get with Pinnacle Consultants. They can inspect your site, collect samples, perform lab analysis, and provide results within a week. Testing all renovations for mold, asbestos, and lead is the law in West Virginia. Visit pinnaclecorp.net for Pinnacle Consultants, because what you don't know can hurt you. Dr. Jessi Troyan of the Cardinal Institute coming up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Twenty minutes away from 10. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Bridge Valley. Are you interested in improving your company's IT workforce? Well, did you know that Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap? At Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost. With a 50-50 salary match, Bridge Valley can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships for more information. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. The text line from Fruth is 304-935-5008. Text says, when will I have the freedom to infect others with measles and polio? Ask this candidate about this. Text says, has the alt-right weirdo candidate read the First Amendment? Banning CRT in public schools violates free speech. Try it. The state will get sued and will lose, according to a texter. Dr. Jessi Troyan of the Cardinal Institute is with us. Dr. Troyan, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be back and looking forward to the weather finally being warm.
Yes. It didn't used to bother me when I was younger, and now that I'm in my 50-somethings, I'm like, yeah, we got to get this out of here. But it is winter. It is winter.
It is January.
We just happen to have it all in a week. That was the problem.
And it came in with a fury.
Yeah, it did, and it can leave with a fury too, as far as I'm concerned. All right, so you guys are out with some new polling information, talking about the Cardinal Institute that you asked to come on to talk about. It was called the Dignity Project. First, I want to have you explain the name. Why was it called that?
So we've been interested in the low labor force participation rate in the state and thinking about what are the reasons that are holding West Virginians back from fully engaging in the workforce. And we're really inspired by this notion of this dignity of earned success through work, that you make something with your own hands, you achieve something you didn't think was possible before. And so that was really kind of the heart and soul of this project. It's not just about increasing statistics that look good. It's really about helping our fellow West Virginians rise to their fullest potential and really cultivate that notion of having the dignity of earned success through work.
Now, how was the polling done? Who was contacted? How did this whole thing work? We'll get to the results in a moment. I'm always interested in how it was done, though.
Indeed. So we contracted with a firm out of Nashville, Tennessee, Targo's Research, and they polled, I think the final number was 765 registered voters in West Virginia. Kind of the makeup of the respondents very closely mirrored the sort of voting population, the voter breakdown in the 2020 election. And asked a bunch of questions regarding the economy, what we think about the factors that are contributing to West Virginia's low labor force participation rate, safety net programs, and possible solutions or improvements to these. So a wide-ranging set of poll questions that are really getting a pulse on what West Virginians see as the issues and the challenges in West Virginia, and some of the best ways that we can address them.
I want to talk about this workforce participation because it's something we spend a whole lot of time talking about. We have all the talk about the West Virginia work ethic, and I've heard it all my life, and I do believe it's still there in a certain amount of the population. Why do we have the worst numbers in the state when it comes to able-bodied people, Dr. Troyan, and not wanting to work? And what did your polling uncover?
So according to our poll results here, when we asked the respondents what they thought were the factors contributing to the low labor force participation rate, the top ranking issue was issues with drugs or substance abuse. And 81% of folks said that was a major or moderate factor in it. And kind of going down from that, we've got lack of good paying jobs, high childcare costs or family responsibilities, discouraged workers who have just straight up given up on trying to find a good job, generous welfare or unemployment benefits, aging population and retirement, lack of access to education and training, criminal records hindering job opportunities, and health and disability issues preventing people from working. And our the lowest ranked one was this health and disability issues. But even 53% of West Virginians think that, hey, that's a major factor, up with 81% thinking that the drugs are substance abuse.
So how do we fix all this? There's the $64 million question. How do we fix it?
Well, so that's part of this overarching dignity project here. And so it kicked off with the benefit cliffs research that I put out about a month ago. So we're talking about that in terms of the way that a lot of these safety net programs are, the way that they actually operate here is in such a place that you can get to a point that you get a small raise, 25 cents, 50 cents, but you've reached this sort of a cutoff point and you reach what's known as a benefit cliff, where then the support that you were getting, whether it's food stamps, whether it's housing help, whether it is healthcare assistance, be it in the Medicaid or like CHIP program, that the loss that you get in the help that you cross over, that the loss of your benefits vastly outstrips the earned income that you are making. And it puts people between a rock and a hard place, that it's a rational decision to say, no, I'm not going to take on an extra shift. I'm not going to take on this career advancement, this promotion, this raise, because it is going to so destabilize the rest of my life. And that's particularly true in households with children.
Yeah, and that's something that I hear this from employers all the time. I've got a good friend that's a local business owner, small business owner, and he said, I would like to hire new people and I'd like to give raises or I'd like to give advancements and whatever. He said, but if I do, this person has this benefit and they're going to end up losing that. And that's kind of a hindrance. What else did your polling find other than just the workforce participation? What else did you take a look at?
So we looked at we primed it up just talking about the general satisfaction of the direction of the U.S. versus the state. A lot of folks were not so encouraged by the direction of the United States. Only 19% of respondents were satisfied with that, but we've got like a 47% rate saying that they're satisfied with the direction of West Virginia.
So people are happier with the state of West Virginia than they are with the country as a whole.
Indeed. And I think that reflects well on the policies that have been implemented and the issues that lawmakers have been focusing on in recent years. I think some particular high points. You've got things like the biggest tax cut in West Virginia history last year. We've got, groundbreaking school choice through the Hope Scholarship in 2021, which is hard to believe that's been almost 3 years ago. And there's just been this sustained focus on the fundamentals of what creates good policy that is going to cultivate, small business growth, that is going to cultivate an environment where people can get these jobs that give them both personal satisfaction and meaning, as well as a job that's actually going to pay all the bills too. So we started with that. We move into, some of the questions about what's leading into the low labor force participation rate. We talked about attitudes that people had regarding people who are receiving these public assistance benefits. And kind of sadly here, we've got basically 1 out of every 3 people think that that folks who are receiving assistance, that they're not motivated to work and they're seeking to rely on it. And so, that's kind of a discouraging mantra, especially in kind of contrast to that West Virginia work ethic that you were just talking about.
Yeah, that we talked about at the beginning of the segment. Dr. Jessi Troyan of the Cardinal Institute is here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Husson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Husson's. Get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an order of appetizer meatballs, only $24.99. Dine-in, delivery, or pickup. Visit HussonsPizza.com. I could spend all show talking about this. Maybe we'll have you back on again soon. But before we let you go, I want to ask you about the Cardinal Institute and the work that you do. For people that maybe are listening for the first time, you and others from the Cardinal Institute have been on the show in the past. What exactly is the Cardinal Institute? So
the Cardinal Institute is a public policy think tank. We are focused on developing the ideas, researching the ideas, and communicating the good ideas that are going to be focused on making West Virginia that better place to live, work, and raise a family. Like I said, especially with my background as an economist, we like to focus on those issues, that there are other organizations that do a great job on other things, but, talking about tax policy, education policy, things like the social safety net, and just fundamentally, what are the barriers that are holding people back from fully engaging in the workforce? Those have been a lot of our key issues in recent years, and we want to see this state live up to, what John Denver called it, almost heaven.
Do you think West Virginia's on the right track overall, in your opinion?
I think so. I think we've made a lot of good progress, but I think especially when you take a fuller look at these polling results, that there's still a lot of work left to be done. So I think we can't rest on the laurels of some policy victories in recent years. We've got to stay focused on the fundamentals, and we've got to keep pushing forward.
Dr. Jessi Troyan of the Cardinal Institute, where can people learn more about the organization? If they want to learn more about these poll results that you did, where can they find out more information?
If you want to learn more about the Cardinal Institute, check out cardinalinstitute.com. And if you want to take a closer look at these polling results and the portfolio of work that we have in this, it is wvdignity.com.
wvdignity.com. Dr. Jessi Troyan, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It is 9:52. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging, talking about Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Here's how it works at Dunbar Furniture. The Moore family welcomes you, directs you to the area you're interested in, and you won't be bothered by pushy salespeople. Living room, dining room, bedroom furniture, mattresses, or the FlexSteel area. Largest selection of FlexSteel sofas, chairs, and recliners in the area. And the lowest prices, too. Give yourself plenty of browsing time. Dunbar Furniture and FlexSteel. Deal with home folks. Visit them on Facebook.
West Virginia's top high school basketball talent will come together February the 5th through the 8th on the campus of West Virginia State University as Game Changer and Parmar stores present the Parmar Shootout. The shootout has been extended to 4 full days this year. Come see the top boys and girls teams in the state battle it out, 32 games in all. The first games tip off at 9:30 each morning. Game Changer and Parmar stores present the Parmar Shootout on the campus of West Virginia State University February 5th through the 8th. For a complete list of games, visit Parmar stores on Facebook and X. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Hello, I am Judge Stephanie Abraham, and I am running for Circuit Court here in Kanawha County.
Judge Stephanie Abraham was appointed to the Circuit Court by Governor Jim Justice. Judge Stephanie Abraham owned and managed her own law firm and was an attorney for the Department of Education and general counsel for the State Board of Education. Judge Stephanie Abraham is a fair and balanced but tough judge who will always follow the Constitution to protect liberty and achieve justice for all.
I am Judge Stephanie Abraham. I appreciate your vote for Kanawha County Circuit Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Judge Stephanie Abraham.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is a show that delves deep into the heart of sports, ethics, and personal responsibility. Join NFL All-Pro Carl Lee, along with frequent co-host Hollis Lewis, as they engage in thought-provoking conversations with influential guests from youth athletics, the sports world, and beyond. And don't miss the Overtime mini episodes, where Carl offers quick personal insights on a wide range of topics. Tune in weekly at WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk, and follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee.
6 away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. And he got to knock out some text here. Text says, Chris Pritt is such a true conservative that appeals to all West Virginians that his Secretary of State campaign failed before it started. He had to resort to running in a gerrymandering district. Why does a popular guy with a popular message have to pick his voters just to have a chance? Text says, define generous as used in the context of welfare and unemployment benefits. Cardinal Institute, I want the dollar amounts vis-a-vis the poverty level. Text says, school choice equals socialism. It's literal redistribution of wealth. Take from Peter to pay Paul so kids can go to a private school, says a texter. Texter says, I can't imagine West Virginia being more conservative also means it would be more depressing. Text says, the Cardinal Institute lady is using PR and marketing to try to get people to work when there's an easy solution to get people to work. Train people and pay them better. Jobs out there want 3 to 5 years of experience and only pay $25,000 a year. Text says, can't take people seriously who say John Denver wrote Country Roads about West Virginia when the man never stepped foot in West Virginia. Think they're pandering elsewhere. Well, that's entirely not true. John Denver played a lot in West Virginia. a lot. Now, I think what you're talking about is the whole origin of the song, and that's probably another show for another time. That's been debated and debated. Hoppy is up at 10:06 with Talkline. Tony Caridi will be stopping by with a recap of that huge WVU men's basketball win over Kansas this past Saturday. Chris Steyerwald is on today, as is Congressman and candidate for U.S. Senate Alex Mooney. Brad McElhenney with a preview of what to expect this week in the legislature. Also, Bishop Mark Drennan on his opposition to the death penalty. Greg Thomas is on the show, and more. Hoppy at 10:06. From Morgantown, Mr. Kirchhoff back in the Capitol in the AARP broadcast location this Wednesday and Thursday. Now, I want to get a couple of local things in here. It was announced over the weekend that Kanawha County Magistrate Michael Farrell will be resigning his position. Kanawha County Circuit Judge Mary Claire Akers said that Farrell resigned via email on Friday. Now, I talked with Judge Akers this morning, and she will be appointing someone to that position. She is confirming with the state Supreme Court today and is expected to have more confirmation available later today. From the crime blotter, Jeff Jenkins, with the story posted to WVMetroNews.com, police have charged a Charleston man with murder of a 36-year-old woman. Isaac Surface is the dude in question here. He's 21. He was named Friday as a person of interest in the beating death of Laura Farley. Charleston PD picked up Surface yesterday on a previous charge. The victim was found dead at her home on Chandler Drive Thursday evening. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. They say the two apparently had been in some sort of a relationship. Again, Jeff has a story posted. Police in Charleston are also saying that they're looking for two suspects after a woman was shot in the face while walking with her boyfriend along Woodward Drive. 44-year-old Christina White was the victim here. She and her boyfriend were walking yesterday afternoon when two men, according to police reports, approached the two, and one of the guys pulled out a gun. White is in the hospital in stable condition. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Maybe wintertime, but we're always thinking baseball over at the ballpark. The 2024 Dirty Birds schedule posted at dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Visit their website for ticket information, promotions, team merchandise, and more. Your hometown baseball team is the Charleston Dirty Birds. And while we're talking about sports, I want to get this in there. The Reds Caravan is due back in Charleston this Thursday at the Coliseum and Convention Center. It starts at 5:30. And we'll actually be broadcasting live from there starting at 6:30. It's free and a great opportunity to hang out with future Red stars, Reds executives, and legendary former Red Todd Benzinger. You remember him from the 1990 team. You're home with the Reds, voice of Charleston, WCHS. Now, the deadline for office in West Virginia, if you want to file for the May primaries, is Saturday night at midnight, 12:01 a.m. Sunday morning, it's too late unless you file by mail. And the envelope is postmarked on Saturday. That having been said, over the next couple of weeks, as the primary season really gets cranking up, I'm going to hear from a lot of candidates wanting on the show, which I'm glad to oblige. However, that comes with some limitations. As I told you last week, once the filing period is over, this Saturday night at midnight, I'll make time for any candidate that wants on the show, but they're limited to one time only to talk about their campaign. Now, obviously, if the governor or a mayor or legislator, somebody wants on, county commissioner, and they are talking about their role within the job, then I'll make time for them. But as far as campaigning, after Saturday night or Sunday morning, 12:01, it becomes one and done as far as the Meet the Candidate segments go. All right, so email me. The best way to get me, dave.allen.wvradio.com, dave.allen.wvradio.com. Coming up tomorrow on the show, candidate for House of Delegates Terry Burns will be here, candidate for Judge in Kanawha County Stephanie Abraham, and Joe Stevens from the West Virginia Ski Association. Ryan Nicholson was my producer. Ryan, thank you so much. Hoppy's coming up at 10:06 with Talkline. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun, enjoy the warmer weather, and love somebody.
580 WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.